How's it going, everyone? Pop-Tart here. Welcome back to the Aeroteam channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to build the National Geographic Explorer expedition ship in 1:5 scale. The National Geographic Explorer is an expedition vessel operating for, as the name suggests, National Geographic's expedition cruise lines. The ship launched in 1982 and has a total of 81 cabins for a maximum capacity of 148 passengers. Compared to our Symphony of the Seas, the largest cruise ship in the world, it's obviously quite a size difference. This is a perfect example of a cruise ship on the smaller side. Due to the pandemic, of course, the Explorer is no longer offering service, and at the time of recording it's currently moored at the Danish port of Frederikshavn. Please excuse my very painfully American mispronunciation. When it is in operation, though, the Explorer offers elite exploration voyages, usually through Arctic or Antarctic routes, and having this unique and interesting ship should be a very fascinating addition to any microscale fleet. As for the build itself here, as you may know, earlier this year, Aeroteam member Southwest 737 went on quite the spree of building microscale ships, such as the Symphony there. That's his handiwork. And I got a bit bored and jumped in on the fun. Unlike South, though, I don't exactly have the skills for the massive cruise ships he tackled, so I went for some smaller vessels. This one here was my first. It was a very fun project to build, packing so much detail into so tiny a ship, and this should be a fun, quick, and easy tutorial as well. So, as I mentioned, this is in 1:5 microscale, meaning that every 5 meters in real life is equivalent to 1 block exactly. This will be perfectly to scale with all of our other microships on the channel, both current and potentially future. Now, before we get started, as always, this build does make use of our very own custom Aeroteam texture pack. A download link to version 2 of this pack can be found in the description below if you don't have it already. Now, if you are stuck using the default pack, if you are following along on console or something, I will do my best to show you how to go about building this in default, but please do keep in mind that I highly recommend using the Aeroteam pack instead if you can, as it'll look much better. Anyways, with that all out of the way, let's get going on this tutorial. Alright, so first things first, here's the dimensions for you to help you figure out where you want to put this. The Explorer is 22 blocks long, 3 blocks across, and 8 blocks tall from the keel to the highest point, or 7 blocks from the waterline to the highest point. So just keep that all in mind as you're getting started. Now, if you've followed along on any of our other tutorials, you know that I usually like to give a quick spiel on the materials we're using, or how that translates to the Aeroteam pack at least. However, for this one, I'm just going to be tackling that on a layer-to-layer basis, since it is so small and so various. So, with that all out of the way, let's get going on layer 1. Alright, so for layer 1 here, we're going to be starting with a single polished granite top slab. Now, if you are building this in the water, this is going to be exactly in line with the water level, so this will be the highest point of the water, starting right here. Since I'm building this out of the water on display though, this doesn't matter for me, but just please do keep in mind that relation otherwise. Now, as I mentioned, we do have some things to worry about with the texture pack here. So, as you can see, the polished granite slab and stairs in the Aeroteam pack here is a red texture. This is the red concrete texture to mesh perfectly. Now, if you are in default, what you'll probably want to do instead is use red concrete for the full block, and bricks for the stairs and slabs to kind of color match with a red texture. However, here in the Aeroteam pack, this does blend much more nicely using the polished granite material instead, so this is what we are using here. So now that we have that all figured out, and now that we have that single top slab in place right there, the next thing that we're going to be doing is placing 17 red concretes going back from this. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Going back up to the front of this row right here, we'll be skipping this first block. Starting from the second block back right here, we have a single polished granite top slab to either side. Then back from this here, we have a red stair facing forwards, going back from either side here. Upside down, that is. Now back from this, we have 13 upside down red stairs facing out to either side of the ship. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. After this row of 13 here, we'll curve this off with an upside down stair facing towards the rear, like so. That'll just round off that bit of the keel there on the underside. Going back now, we have a row of 3 red top slabs, right here. Then a single one going back in the center. Off to either side here, we're going to place an upside-down stair facing out to either side, just like this. This will be the start of the rudders here at the rear. Now, it's interesting to note, on the National Geographic Explorer here, there are actually 3 rudders, so 2 on either side and then 1 in the center here. But that's not exactly something that I can incorporate well in this scale, since we really don't have the room to work with anything that's kind of centered in this single block space right here. But that's just an interesting thing to make note of in regards to the real ship. Once we have that in place, the next thing we can do is grab a general trapdoor, and where we have this row of 3 of the red top slabs that we placed, underneath the outermost 2 right there, we'll have a single general trapdoor, just like this, to give an indication of the 2 propellers on either side right here. Now, as you can see here in the Aeroteam pack, the general trapdoor is a smooth stone texture. In default, just substitute an iron trapdoor instead, but this is what we are using here. Now, the next thing that we can do is corner off these stairs here using a world edit. So, for this, what we're going to do is place a stair just anywhere, facing towards the left side of the ship. Now behind this, we're going to place an upside down stair facing backwards, like so. Now what we're going to do next is grab a stick, or any old item, type /rebel 0. This will switch it over to the replace tool. We can select this corner stair by left clicking on it now, clear out all of these temporary blocks, and then paste over that stair by right clicking on it. This will shave off the rear portion of that stair there, and make it a much more accurate and realistic shape for the rudders of the ship. If you don't have access to World Edit, it's not too crucial of a detail, but it does help immensely with realism. So this is what we are using here. And we'll just do the same thing on the right side. So, corner off an upside down stair right there, select and paste over, like so. And the last thing that we can do now is grab a general button, which in the Aeroteam pack here is a white button texture, like this. Just use a stone button in default, but this is what we're using here. So, what we're going to do for this is place a general button on a temporary block facing backwards here, and once again grab World Edit. We're going to select this button right here, remove that, and then paste over that temporary block. This will be going back from that single top slab right there in the center. And what this is for here is the white depth markings on the rear of the keel right here. This is a detail accurate to the real ship. This is kind of a fun thing to include. Again, if you don't have access to World Edit, it's not too crucial. It's just a tiny set of lines going up the rear right there, but it is fun to include otherwise. Anyways, with that, that is everything for Layer 1. Alright, so for Layer 2 here, we're going to be switching over to a different color set for the next few layers here. On top of this red top slab from the previous layer, we're going to have a single block of prismarine. Now in the Aeroteam pack here, this is a custom color. It's, as you can see here, a dark navy blue like this. There really isn't anything else like this in vanilla Minecraft. You can try substituting a blue concrete instead in vanilla Minecraft for this bit of color in the hull here, but that will be much brighter and more saturated than this color here, and this is quite literally exactly the same color as the real ship's hull, so this is why we are using it here. Now forwards from this here, we're going to have a single upside down prismarine stair facing forwards, just like this, to start off the angle of the forward hull. Now, in default, again, workaround that you can use for this is dark prismarine instead, so just replacing any usage of the prismarine stairs with the dark prismarine. Again, as I mentioned, it won't be the best in terms of color accuracy, but it will be some sort of dark bluish material for you to blend in with. Anyways, with that out of the way, going out to either side of this block of prismarine right here, we're going to have a single acacia button to either side, like this. And again, another texture pack note, this is a black wool texture here. In default, just use dark oak buttons instead of acacia, but this is what we are using here. This is for the anchor hole on either side of the bow of the ship right here. And going back from this, we're going to have another block of prismarine right there, and an upside down prismarine stair facing forwards off to either side of that, like so. Going back from both of these stairs here, we have 6 blocks of prismarine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And off to either side of these last 3 blocks right here, going forwards, we have 3 acacia buttons here for the portholes on the sides. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. And going back from this now, we have a total of 9 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now going back here, we have 3 prismarine stairs facing out to the side. 1, 2, and 3. And 1, 2, and 3 right there. This will be just regular stairs, not upside down. And then 1 facing towards the rear here, like so. This is for a bit of interesting curvature where the aft of the shape here kind of flattens out in this pad on the outside, and then angles back outwards for the aft of the ship up here. So this is accurate to the real ship. That's why we're using these stairs here for this curvature. So now that we have that, across these last 3 stairs right here, we're going to place 3 temporary blocks. On the back of one of these, place a birch button here. We're going to grab our replace tool, select that birch button there, and paste it over all 3 of these temporary blocks there. That'll get them tricked into staying on these stairs here. This is for the yellow National Geographic lettering across the rear edge of the hull here. And with that, that is everything for Layer 2. Alright, so for Layer 3 here, on top of this upside down stair from the previous layer, we're going to place a prismarine block right there, with an upside down stair coming off of its face, just like this. Next, behind this block here, we have a second going back with an upside down stair out to either side, again facing forwards. That'll leave us with one exposed full block right here. Out to either side of this, we're going to have a single birch button there. Then back from these stairs here, we have a full block going back, like so. Then a temporary block out to either side of these full blocks here, and the stairs in front of them, like this. On the right side of the ship here, we're going to place a birch button there. Grab that with the replace tool, paste over those two temporary blocks, and the same thing on the ship's left side, just like this. Again, as with the aft there, this is for the yellow National Geographic Explorer lettering across the bow of the ship right here. So now that we have that, going back from both of these full blocks right here, we have an additional 15 blocks going back. That'll give us a total of 16 of these Prismarine full blocks here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Should land right on top of that last full block from the previous layer there. Same thing on the right side, 15 blocks going back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Now going up to the front here, it does get asymmetrical from here. So on the left side only, we're going to be skipping this first block here, back from the birch button. Skipping one there, starting on the second block back, we have 14 acacia buttons on the left side here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Now on the right side, skipping that single block again, starting from the second block back here, we have 12 buttons going back. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. These two blocks here aren't going to have anything on them. This is a gap in the cabins here, and subsequently the portals on the side where the smokestacks come up and through, which we'll be getting to in the later layers here. But yeah, now that we have that there, going back from this now, we have 3 upside-down stairs facing off towards the right side here. 1, 2, and 3. And same thing on the left side here, facing off towards the left, that is. 1, 2, and 3 upside-down stairs, like so. And in between these last two here, we just have a single upside-down stair facing towards the rear. Now that we have that all in, we're going to wrap temporary blocks around this here. 3 on the left, 3 on the rear, and 3 on the right, like so. We're going to select a button facing towards the right, an acacia button that is. Paste that over these 3 rightmost temporary blocks. Select an acacia button facing towards the rear. Paste that over the 3 rear temporary blocks here. Then select an acacia button facing towards the left, and paste that over those 3 leftmost blocks, just like this. That'll get the last of these windows here wrapping around the rear edge of the ship. And the last thing to do for this layer here is to grab black wool. Going back from the upside-down stair right here, the rear one in the center, or forwards rather from this, we're going to have a single black wool right here. Then skip a block, then we have 4 going forwards. 1, 2, 3, and 4. This will just get this out of the way for us now. This will be sealing off some of the see-through windows from the inside, just so that it's all nice and flushed off. But yeah, once we have that, that is everything for layer 3. Alright, so for layer 4 here, from here on out we're going to be switching over to our white color scheme for the remainder of the hull. So in the Aeroteam pack here, we're using the wool material coupled with the purple stairs and slabs for this shiny wool coloration here for white materials such as this. Now if you are in default, an alternative you can use is either quartz or smooth quartz, depending on what you have access to, in which case just use those instead of wool whenever I'm building here, but this is what we are using here on the Aeroteam pack. So, again, that's the purple stairs here. I'll just be referring to these as the wool stairs and slabs, but yeah. So, on top of this upside-down stair from the previous layer right here, we're going to have a single wool stair facing backwards, like this, with a wool stair going back from it here. Next we'll be going out to either side here with a wool slab out at an angle, like so, with a single oak trapdoor in the center. Make sure that this is aligned parallel with the ship here so that the planks look like this and not this. Just like that for the bit of deck there on the bow. Once we have that, we're going back from that trapdoor rather, we have a single full block right there, with a wool stair facing forwards out to either side. This will start to round off the angular curvature of the front here. It's a very interesting design on the real ship, but yeah. So, going back from that wool block there, we have a second block back now. We'll be switching over to black wool. We have 2 black wool going back right here, and then 3 wool going back from both of these stairs here. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Next, out to either side of these 3 full blocks of wool that we just placed here, we have 3 acacia buttons, just like this. And same thing on the right side. Now that we have those windows in place there, going back from the black wool in the center, we have 4 blocks of wool going back. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Out to either side of the first one here, we have a wool stair facing backwards, like so. Next, we're going to switch over to the snow layers. Behind this stair right here, we have a column of 5 snow layers right here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This will extend back for a total of 4 right here. So we have 1 here already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. And same thing on the right side here, just like this. Now going back from the row of wool right here, we have a single red concrete right there. This is for some red door markings on the inside of that balcony walkway right there. This is the best way I could figure out how to represent that. But, yeah. So once we have that, we're yet again going to switch over to our temporary blocks. This is asymmetrical now. On the left side, skipping these first 2 snow layers right here, out to the side of the last 2 snow layers, we have 2 temporary blocks right there. Select an acacia button facing towards the left side and paste it over those 2, like this. On the right side, that same thing's going to happen, but on the first 2 blocks right here, like so. The windows on the right and left are offset here, so that's what's going on there. And again, if you don't have access to World Edit and can't place those over the snow layers there, it's not too crucial of a detail, but it does help immensely with the realism. So, now that we have that, going back from the red concrete right here, we have a row of 3 wool going back, 1, 2, and 3, and box this off to either side to make a 3x3 square, like so. And on the left side, 3 acacia buttons, and 3 on the right as well. Next, going back here, we're going to be switching over to the paint-stained glass. In the Aeroteam pack here, this is a black glass texture with borders. We're using this instead of blood-stained glass because in the Aeroteam pack, the blood-stained glass is borderless, and we want this border here to represent the window detailing. In default, of course, you'll be using blood-stained glass, but please do be aware of that difference in the Aeroteam pack here. So, going back from the center, we have 4 paint-stained glass going back, 1, 2, 3, and 4, like so, with a black wool full block right there, and then 1 more glass going back. Now that we have that, on the left side here, we have 4 wool top slabs going back, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 2 blocks of wool right there. On the right side here, that's going to be a single top slab, an upside down stair facing forwards, a full block right there, then a top slab going back, and then after this here we have 2 more wool full blocks going back, like so. And this is for the rows of open-air balconies on either side here, connecting in with the rooms in the rear of the ship. So, once we have that in place, the next thing to do is place a wool stair facing backwards from both of these rows of wool right here, then connect them across in the center here with a wool half slab for the walkway at the rear here. Lastly, we'll take our acacia buttons and place these out to either side of those last 2 blocks of wool, like so. And that will finish off layer 4. Alright, so for layer 5 here, the first thing we're going to do is place a wool block on top of the second batch of those 2 wool blocks from the previous layer right there, just like this. On its forward face here, we're going to grab a dead brain coral fan and place this going forwards right here. This will be a wool vertical slab here in the Aeroteam pack. Out to either side of this wool full block here, we have a wool stair facing to the outside of the ship, just like this, upside down stair that is. Now, if you don't have access to the Aeroteam pack and can't place this vertical slab in here, what you can do instead is either place a stair in its face, or in its place facing forwards like this, or maybe close an iron trapdoor against the front, just something to enhance the curvature like this. But this is what we are using here in the Aeroteam pack, as I mentioned. And again here, as I mentioned in the previous layer, this whole sub-assembly just replicates the very angled paneled curvature of the front of the Explorer here. So that's what's going on with that. So, now that we have that all in place, going back from the wool block here, we have 2 paint-stained glasses going back, upside down wool stair facing forwards from the rear block right there, and then 1 more going forwards, just like this. As you'll notice here, that second upside down stair that we placed going forwards right there will corner off, and we don't want that. These 2 upside down stairs here are in place for the larger windows on the side of the ship right here, in comparison with the black buttons that we're using for the smaller windows, that is. So what we're going to do now to clean up the stairs a little bit is grab a stick, or any old item, type /0, again switch that over to the replace tool. I think we've already done that at some point here, yeah, but just make sure that you have that switch over to the replace tool. It's been several days since my last cut, so I just needed to get that replaced myself, but yeah. So, the first thing that we're going to be doing is cornering this stair off here, so that instead of being an upside down stair facing towards the right side, it'll corner off towards the front like this. So, corner it off with the stair facing towards the front, select it, clear out that block there, and then paste over. This will just help with the curvature of that walkway right there, and we'll just do the same thing on the right side of the ship. So, upside down stair facing forwards off to the side, select that, break the stair, and then paste over. That'll get those two stairs tricked into staying like this. And the last thing we can do is select the rearmost stair right here, the one that's not cornered off, and it's just facing forwards. Select that, and then paste over the middle one, just like this. And that will fix up that window so it's nice and see-through. Again, as I mentioned, if you don't have access to World Edit, it's not too crucial to detail, but it does help greatly with the shaping of the ship here. So that's why we are using it. So, now that we have that all in place, going back from the glass, we have a total of 13 blocks of wool going back now. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Like so. Heading back up to the front now, what we're going to do is grab the red sandstone slabs. We'll be placing this immediately back from the upside down stairs right there, on either side, like so. Skip a block going back now, and on the second block back right here, we'll be switching over to the smooth red sandstone slabs this time, and placing that going out to either side, like so. These are for the two sets of deployable boats on either side of the Explorer right here. I'm not entirely sure, actually, what they are, whether they're lifeboats or deployable ships. I do know that the Explorer does have deployable submarines and remote vessels of that type, but these are two boats that are on the side here. The forward one is noticeably duller in color than the rear one, which is much brighter, and that's how it is on the real ship, so that's why we're using these two different color schemes here. So with those all in place now, we'll just place one last acacia button out to either side right there, in between those two slabs that we just placed for a window in the side of the ship right there. And going back now, we'll be placing two birch trapdoors going back from the slab right here. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Or again, iron trapdoors in default. Now going back from this here, on top of this row of wool, we'll be switching over to the snow. On this block here, we have a total of 6 snow layers. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And this will be going back for a total of 3 of these 6 sets of snow. So that's 1 there already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Like so. Same thing on the right side here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Next, grab your replace tool again. We'll be placing a row of 3 temporary blocks out to the left side here. Grab an acacia button, on the left side that is, and paste it over those 3 temporary blocks. And the same thing is going to happen on the right side right here, just to finish off the windows right there. So, going back from that now, we'll be grabbing the stripped oat log now. And again, this is another utility here in the Aeroteam pack. So this is a half white wool, half black wool texture like this. And we'll be using this black wool slab rather than the buttons to replicate the larger full room sized windows for the cabins at the rear here. So, as it normally appears here in its vertical orientation, the stripped oat log has the black wool on the top half here. And there are 2 other horizontal orientations, one of which has this upside down model here with the black wool on the bottom half. This is the orientation that we want for this row here, so that it lines up correctly with the windows. We'll be placing 3 of these going back, just like this. And on the right side it's going to be slightly different here, so we have 2 of these going back, 1 and 2. And then a block of wool right there. Again, we have that kind of blocked off gap going up the rear right here where that smokestack comes up and through. So, now that we have that all in place, going back right here, we're going to have a set of 6 snow layers again. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And a second one right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Same thing on the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then going back right here, we have another stripped out log right there, this time in its vertical orientation with the black wool on the top half. And I don't think I mentioned this before here, but again, if you are in default, you can just substitute this for a white full block with a acacia button, or dark oak button rather, in default, coming off of it, but this is much more realistic here to the real ship. So, now that we have that, we'll be grabbing our snow layers once more. Out to either side of the stripped out log here, we have 2 snow layers, 1, 2, and 1 and 2, just to curve off the rear of the ship right here. And the last thing here, we'll be placing our buttons on the side of this set of snow layers right here, kind of the same as we did at the middle of the ship. So, 2 temporary blocks there, grab the stick, and paste over, like so. And this will only be going in on the right side here, on these 2 snow layers. On the left side, these windows are blocked off. They are not present here, so that's just going to remain blank, like this. So with that, that is everything for layer 5. Alright, so for layer 6 here, the first thing that we're going to do is place in the bridge. So we'll be grabbing our stripped out logs again, same as we did at the windows back there. And we'll be placing this in on top of these three first exposed full blocks right here. And again, as we did right there, this will be on its reverse orientation, so on the horizontal axis with the black wool in the bottom half, just across these three blocks right there. That'll give the glass in place there for the bridge, and the top blocked off as it is in reality. So, I really don't know how else to explain it like this. So back from this now, from the center, we have a single wool full block right there, and a wool stair facing backwards. Out to either side of this here, we have two birch trapdoors, just like this, and then a wool full block back from the wool stair right there. Next, going back, we have 4 stripped out logs, again on the reverse orientation, so 1, 2, 3, and 4, like this. This is for the windows running down the side there, or running down the center rather, in the top deck of the ship. And back from this now we have 3 blocks going back, 1, 2, and 3. And against the last 2 here, we'll be grabbing iron bars and placing those out to either side right there, like so. Next, going back, we'll grab an acacia trapdoor, which there it is. Thought I didn't have it on me for a second. So, 2 of these going back from that row of wool right there, 1 and 2. In default, you can just substitute a black wool, or a black carpet rather, but this is what we are using here. I'll just cap off that section there. Then going back from this here, we have a set of 3 snow layers. So that'll be 1, 2, and 3. This will go back for a total of 4 right here. So we have 1 already, 2, 3, and 4. That'll just cap off the window at the rear right there. So now that we have that, the last thing to do for this layer is to put in those smokestacks that I've talked for so long about. So out to either side of this the very first snow layer that we placed right there, or the set of 3 that is, we have a stripped oak log, just like this. This will be on its normal vertical orientation with the black wool on the top half, like so. Now, if you are in default, this isn't too crucial. You can use just a wool full block for this, but this is more realistic to the actual coloration. So with that, we'll be next grabbing the acacia trapdoor again, and going back from this here, we have an acacia trapdoor on the top half of that block, like so, on both sides. This will just start off the rear-pointed sloping curvature of the smokestacks here. And to finish this off, we'll grab our acacia buttons, and out to either side of these stripped out logs here, we have an acacia button right there. This is just for the National Geographic logo on the side of the smokestacks here on either side of the ship. And with that, that is everything for Layer 6. Alright, so to finish off the National Geographic Explorer, we'll be putting in Layers 7 and 8. So to start off here, on top of this row 3 of the stripped out logs from the previous layer, on the outermost block here, we'll be placing a gentle button. This will be aligned perpendicular with the ship, like this. Same thing on the right. And in the Aeroteam pack here, the gentle button is a white wool texture. Just use birch in default. This is what we are using here. So, going back from the center now, we have this single wool full block right here. On top of it, to put in the forward mast, we'll have a jungle fence right there. Again, as I mentioned, white wool texture, just use birch in default, but this will blend in much more nicely. So, on top of this now, we have an end rod going up from it right here, and forwards from both of these, we have a single end rod, like so. And then for the thinner antenna going up the rear here, we'll switch over to the iron bars and place 2 of these going up from that wool stair right there. That'll finish off the forward mast. So, the next thing we're going to do is, back from this here, place a set of 5 snow layers on top of this wool block right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, like so. Skip a block right here, we have a single jungle button. This will be aligned parallel with the aircraft, or not aircraft, with the ship this time. I'm so used to saying parallel with the aircraft in my tutorials that I just said that automatically. Whoops. Yep, this is a ship. This is obviously not an aircraft. So, going back now, we'll be skipping a row of 2 here, 1 and 2. And on the third block, we have a jungle fence right there, and a second on top right here for the rear mast. And to finish this off here, and finish off the angled curvature of this mast right here, what we're going to do is place a temporary block going forwards from that bottommost fence right there. We'll select that with World Edit. We might have to replace that there to get it to connect fully. Select that there, knock out the temporary block, and then paste it over, like so. So with that mast in place now, again, that's not too crucial of a detail without World Edit, but it does help immensely, as I always say with my generic spiel. But, yeah. So, lastly, on these last 2 wool blocks right here, on the last one rather, we're going to have a temporary block right there, with a dead brain coral fan going off towards the front. On the back of this temporary block here, we'll place another one facing towards the rear. Select that and then paste over the temporary block there. This is for the radar dome here at the rear of the ship. Again, if you are on default without these vertical slabs, just use a full block on either one of the 2 blocks there, but that lines up much more accurately with its placement on the ship. So with that done now, the very last thing to do for the National Geographic Explorer is to finish off the smokestacks. So for this, we're going to grab the acacia trapdoor and black carpets once more. On top of the stripped out log here, we have a single acacia trapdoor right there, and a black carpet going back from it. Acacia trapdoor there, and a black carpet. And that is everything for the National Geographic Explorer. So, congratulations on completing the MS National Geographic Explorer. Thank you so much for choosing an Aeroteam design. We hope that you enjoyed building it, and we hope that you enjoy having it as a part of whatever project you are using this for. Do feel free to use this in any kind of publicly available project you like, given that you, of course, provide proper credit to the Aeroteam for these designs. You cannot use our builds without giving us due credit. So, if you have built this ship, let us know. We'd love to see how you're using our designs. Tag us on Twitter at AeroteamMC, or share it with us on our Discord server. If you enjoyed, please do consider subscribing to the Aeroteam channel to be the first to see our new aircraft when they come out. Anyways, that is just about it. So, thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.